Every Monday night, you are checking out Breakfast Super Raw.
Bon appetit! As Don, Tony, and Mish dish out their opinions about the world of pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Super Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
I feel young today. I feel invigorated. Jerry Lawler looked the other way.
You shaved up a little bit.
I shaved. I look a little bit younger.
Hey,
yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, everyone, for people out there on social media that don't show you their photos, they will convince you that you look like this, but in reality, you look like this. What's going on, everybody? It is Monday night, October 11th, 2021. Breakfast Soup Raw is back. I am Don Tony, and he is
Anthony Missionary Thomas. What's up, everybody?
Not bad, not bad. Little shout out to my bird. Yes, this is my African gray. I will be bird sitting again this weekend. My parents are going to Florida for 10 days, so I will be bird sitting. And if any of you out there, if you've never seen my bird, now patrons, witness my bird live on video, and not deliberate, but he took a massive dump on my shirt while we were streaming the show live. But for all of you out there that always wanted to see a little video of my bird, here's a 45-second little clip of my bird. You gonna join me live later, little boy? Can I kiss? Say hello to everybody. Want to say hello? You gonna join me on the show later? You gonna play dead? Freddie, play dead. Wee. You nuts. He's a cool bird. You crazy bird. Up.
That is cute.
Up. Come on, I gotta prepare for my show. Up. Up. Come on. All right, everybody. I see you live in a little bit. Say bye. Bye. You gonna play dead one more time? Fred, play dead. You're nuts. You're crazy. I almost broke my phone. You can't bite the camera. Up. I love you. What's that? You can't have that. No. What's that? Say hello to everybody. No, that's iPhone 19. Hey, no, Fred, what are you doing? Let go, Fred. Come on, Mama.
He wants to take his own selfies.
One of those moves that he wants to play, right, Mama? Now, if you see this up, can I kiss? I love you. All right, everybody. See you later. Yeah, just cheap plug because I'm wearing a shirt tonight. Hey, I usually don't really try to plug other shows I do over here. Yes, we'll talk about Raw. We'll talk about the latest with Crown Jewel and a few other things. But if you have not checked out the episode that I did Saturday about this, I am a big AEW supporter as well. The number of emails that I got, not even close, other than maybe Daphne's passing when we first launched the channel, but the feedback has been amazing. And this weekend really, really exposed a lot of disingenuous people out there. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And we're also going to talk about the little quiet move that WWE did for this Friday's Supersize SmackDown. Something they quietly announced through commercials Saturday. And, we'll talk about the Rampage rating too. And we'll make a few comments. And by the way, let me make this clear. This is not the beginning of a war against AEW. I am a huge supporter of AEW, but we got to call things like they are. And there's too many people out there that are petrified, afraid that they'll upset someone or they'll upset the fans. And they notice how nobody is on that side of the fence is talking about this. But when everybody on that side, I now call them all elite sheep. I'm not talking about regular AEW fans. A majority of fans are regular supporters of AEW. They just want good wrestling. They want to see AEW succeed. That fringe element, we will now call them from now on all elite sheep. And when those all elite sheep came out today and were writing all those little cute tweets about, oh, a former or a wrestling heavyweight champion is on Dancing with the Stars, all in blue today. Look at that. A wrestling heavyweight champion. That's what he is dressed up like tonight. And I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I ask everybody, who wore the blue better? The Miz tonight on Dancing with the Stars or your current AEW heavyweight champion, Kenny Omega, in Japan? I ask you, who wore the blue better? See, people don't like it when the medicine is fed back to them. So, yeah, let's throw that picture up one more time. I
think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Yeah.
I mean, who wore the blue better? I mean, give the Miz credit, for how many hours of makeup it took. That shows you that this guy is taking this extremely serious.
Oh, Miz has always been a guy that commits to the bit. Can we at least say that? Whether you're a big fan of the Miz or not, can people just agree that as far as being the company guy, as far as being the guy who commits, Miz is literally the crown-wearing champion of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he is all in, all the time, no matter what it is, whether it's Miz and Miss, whether it's cutting promos in WWE and doing shilly shtick with Jomo, Johnny Drip Drip. Like, the guy is always in 110%. Even if it ends up as complete dog shit. He is the guy. Didn't he do the KFC thing too for a minute? Like, the guy he has no problems with making fun of himself and laughing at himself. And I think he genuinely enjoys when people enjoy laughing at him too.
I think Kenny Omega laughs at himself also. This is not a bash on Kenny Omega. All I'm saying is that
I wasn't even talking about Kenny Omega. I was just saying, as far as the Miz goes.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Miz just seems like a guy who commits,
Yeah, like when he wants to do something, he goes all out for it. That's not a play on words, but it's just that when they want to have so much fun with that, when maybe you should know your history and know that your current heavyweight champion, may have dressed a little bit bluey in the past too. So.
One of their favorite co-hosts on this show might have done it for a Jerry Springer bit, so you never know.
Yeah. By the way, much love, and I was so happy. I got a DM earlier. Make sure you check out AEW Dark tonight. Why? Can I watch it tomorrow during the work? Yeah, you can watch it tomorrow during work, but you'll have a nice little surprise tonight on AEW Dark. So I couldn't resist. And I was trying to figure out what was going to be on Dark tonight. And sure enough, Crowbar actually got a match against Joey Janela. And they actually let Crowbar do a little bit of work in this match. I think in like a week or two, it's like the 19-year anniversary that I met this guy for the first time when we all hung out at the Chiller convention in Newark. Yeah. That was the same week that the Angels won the World Series. So very, very happy. Shout out to Crowbar for appearing on Dark. I know for a lot of you out there, you might think Dark is not a big deal. Say it to some people who has ate, slept, shit, bled wrestling for decades and gets another opportunity.
Well, let's be honest. Crowbar is bigger than Dark, in my opinion. And I gotta say, the dude looks better with age. I think you look back on the early days with like the mascara and stuff. I think current Crowbar is a lot creepier than younger Crowbar. I think it works for the dude. So as far as the look goes, because everybody always shits on the way people look when they get older and stuff like that. Crowbar looks okay.
Yeah,
he looks good for his age. He looks real good for his age. Good for him.
Yep. And, I could say it because he uses his real name in that world.
Yeah.
Chris Ford is an unbelievable chiropractor as well. The man has been a chiropractor for a couple of decades as well, and he has helped a lot of wrestlers and, have done a lot of adjustments to a lot of wrestlers. And I don't know if it's true, but I hear from others, in wrestling who have used his services that sometimes charge little to no money if somebody really needs a little bit. So the guy is just an awesome, awesome man. So again, Dark may not be that big of a deal. It's a YouTube show, but put a smile on my face. Shout out to Crowbar. Shout out to Crowbar. Yeah. All right. Raw tonight, since there is an extra hour, we were going to have more than just the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament matches. I still don't understand why we have to repeat it 3, 4, 5 times. Again, either people out there, and when I say that, I'm talking about shows, websites, blue check marks, either they're some of the most ignorant people out there or they're lying to you. All right, this King of the Ring tournament was never about the elite of WWE that is not, or maybe future stars of WWE that, they just want to give them this big opportunity, or the Queen's Crown tournament. There was never about having the top women of that company that don't have championship titles right now or are not in feuds. This is about, and Mish, if you disagree with me, tell me, but this is about WWE having a $50 million event next week. AEW had Grand Slam in Queens, New York, did a fabulous job, made money on it. How much money do you think they made? 5 million, 7 million? Even if you want to go nuts and say 10 million, which they didn't, not even close. WWE for one event is making $50 million more than AEW's TV deal for the entire year. You best damn believe they will take tournaments and dust them off. And remember, not everybody goes to Saudi Arabia. Right. Sami Zayn is still in that tournament. I'm not convinced Sami Zayn is going to Saudi Arabia. If Sami Zayn loses to Finn Balor on SmackDown, then that was put in there to give everybody a decent match. But at the same time, this is about pleasing Saudi Arabia. And here's the most important part, what a lot of people don't realize. Big E versus Drew McIntyre. You all know the outcome already. There's no question as far as who's going to win. You see some of the matches that you question. In fact, Mish and I said 3 weeks ago that we're going to have Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali at Crown Jewel. For 3 weeks, we've been saying that. Tonight, they might have finally planted that seed to make it happen. But this is the most important thing. They want to make Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, everybody who is paying WWE wants them to think they got their money's worth and more. Seth Rollins versus Edge, Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia. This card, I could arguably say, might be better than SummerSlam. If you really think about it, this card might be better than SummerSlam, and they want Saudi Arabia to feel that they over-delivered, because when that deal starts coming up in a few years, if Saudi Arabia says, all right, that was good, but we're not going to renew the deal, that will hit the stock market in such a negative. People don't understand the amount of revenue that comes in because of this. So you best damn believe a lot of the focus right now is only on Saudi Arabia. So when you see the brackets for the King of the Ring, and there's some, why are you put Jinder Mahal? But we wanted to see Kofi versus Xavier. Well, guess what? The quintessential, the average wrestling fan that goes live to WWE shows, they want to see good guy versus bad guy. Most of the people online are like, damn, I really wanted Kofi versus Xavier next week. Yeah, that would have been intriguing. But A lot of those fans are the ones that, want to see Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk, babyface versus babyface. Just give me unbelievable match. No, this is about evil versus good. And if Jinder Mahal happens to go to the finals, it's Saudi fucking Arabia. There's going to be an influence on here. Look at the women's side of this. Look at the women's brackets. Zelina Vega, Toni Storm, Carmella, Natalya, Doudrop, Dana Brooke. With all due respect to those talents, does that feel like Queen? Why didn't Shaw? I'm the Queen of WWE. How am I not in this tournament? So when people are like these tournaments are junk, a travesty, disgusting, no, it is fucking business. This is about telling Saudi Arabia, what if we do a Queen's Crown tournament? What if we do a King of the Ring tournament? Hell in a Cell, Goldberg, championship matches. That's what it's about. That's why they're making $50 million and the people online are making 50 cents. Where am I wrong, Mitch?
You're not in theory, but I think there's more to the tournaments than just being a business decision in order to present matches between the heel and the baby face. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of these matches that come from these tournaments should, in theory, and has in the past, set up feuds down the road. There are feuds that spark from this tournament, from King of the Ring and now Queen of the Ring. I think more so than anything, though, I agree with you. It doesn't need to have champions in it in order to be a good tournament. And as far as how they made this tournament, personally, I wish it was a little bit more of the stars of tomorrow. I wish these tournaments, the King of the Ring, and that's just a personal thing of mine. I would think that if you took a lot of the younger talent, like a Cross or a Keith Lee, and threw them in this tournament, I think there would have been a little bit more weight behind it, because it would have been interesting, because people cannot guess who WWE is going to have win the King of the Ring tournament or Queen of the Ring. Although I think there's a lot less talent that you could throw in Queen of the Ring as far as up-and-comers versus what you can do with the guys. Do you know what I'm saying by that? Like, you have a lot more people that can be established in a tournament if you're using, maybe not rookies, but if you're using newer talents. So, yes, the purpose of this is obviously to put butts in seats. That's why they teased everybody with the potential of, the New Day versus each other. Almost like when he lost tonight, when Kofi lost tonight, I almost wondered if we were going to have a Grandma Staples moment. Do you remember Grandma Staples? Christian and Edge's grandmother that didn't love Christian anymore, but loved Edge and caused the whole war between Edge and Christian. I almost felt like there was going to be something like that, but I understand why they put the stars that they did in these tournaments. It doesn't add value to me, but that's just my own personal take,
Absolutely. So as far as the tournament goes, and we kind of joked about it over the weekend, that we were going to get Doudrop versus Shayna, simply because of last week with Doudrop, like looking at Shayna going, like Shayna farted or something. And I tell you, just to show you the stupidity of a lot of people online, with all due respect, Shayna Baszler beats Dana Brooke in 90 seconds.
As it should be.
And yes, and a lot of people who try to make these statements about women's wrestling, Blue Check Marks podcast, are all ripping it. The women's division, the Queen of the Ring tournament match got 90 seconds. Yeah, it's fucking Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler should not be having a 5-6 minute match. The funny thing is, I remember when Kenny Omega wrestled someone last year, these same people were like, why is Kenny wrestling 5 minutes against a nobody? He should win the match in 90 seconds. Shayna Baszler should be running through people right now. And
yes.
That's what you grasp on? Shayna Baszler, I hope.
Dude, this weekend, though, then you missed the nuclear reaction from people pissed off that the Toni Storm and Zelina Vega match and the Carmella and Liv Morgan match were both like, what, a minute 30, a minute 50, something like that.
These are the same people that don't want Carmella.
They're like, see, WWE is holding women down again. I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So stupid.
It was a short match. It was what it was. Period.
Fucking stupid.
I think WWE's done a lot of good things in changing the way that women's wrestling is addressed. So I don't know where these people are pulling this shit out of their ass. But yeah, fine. It was a short match. I'm sorry I didn't get to see a 15-minute Toni Storm versus Zelina Vega match or a 10-minute Liv Morgan versus Carmella match. You know, it's like, and Shayna Baszler tearing through people, that's what she's been doing for the last month.
Yes.
She's been tearing through everybody since she dropped Nia. Since she took out Nia, that's what she's been doing.
Squeal like a pig.
Like, why all of a sudden is she supposed to be like, oh, Dana Brooke is all of a sudden my equal because it's Queen of the Ring? Stop it. It doesn't make sense. The narration of that doesn't make sense. It's a break in the continuity of her character. She shouldn't win in a 15-minute battle with somebody that's below her on the totem pole.
Exactly. Now, on the left side, we had Zelina Vega advance and Carmella advance. So the winner of Carmella and Zelina Vega, which is a little intriguing storyline because they were both heels with each other. The winner of those two will go to Saudi Arabia, and I think it will be Carmella. Obviously, I feel it's going to be Carmella. On the right side, we had Doudrop beat Natalya and Shayna Baszler beat Dana Brooke today. No surprise there. So now next week, we will have Doudrop versus Shayna Baszler, and the winner of that match goes to Saudi Arabia. I think it comes down to Carmella versus Shayna Baszler, and if Shayna Baszler does go, she should not be in the ring more than 2 minutes.
Right. She should tear through everybody in a short time. You want to try and fix all the damage that Shayna had by being with Nia, who was kind of cast off to the side, and all the silly, stupid stuff with the flippity-doo guy, Reggie. You know, you want to fix all that nonsense.
Unstoppable force.
Shayna tear through everybody. And Carmella being the final match in this is just going to be so much sweeter.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely. Now, on the men's side, we had Sami Zayn beat Rey Mysterio. We had Finn Balor beat Cesaro. Finn Balor, I could see him going to Saudi Arabia, and he could very well go as the Demon. Not sure yet. I don't think so, to be honest with you. It wouldn't make sense. But I'm still, again, Sami Zayn, we know his views. And again, I think people need to remember in the back of their mind that Saudi Arabia is optional. And yes, I agree with everybody says optional, meaning that you don't have to go, but it might be in your best interest to go.
Right, like the mob.
Yes.
You don't have to whack this guy, but if you want to still hang out with us.
Yeah. So if Sami Zayn loses Friday, there was never any intention on him going. But I think, so next week we have Jinder Mahal versus Xavier Woods. And the way the internet has been about...
You know what? Let me throw this out here, too, real quick. And Ben in the chat brings up a great point. It is well known that Finn Balor is an LGBTQ ally.
Right, but he's wrestled there.
Do you think that, I understand that, but do you think that that holds any kind of resolve for him? Do you think that, no issues at all? Okay, fair enough.
Because he's been there already.
I'm just curious because that is a big deal. That is a big issue. So, I mean, I understand at the same point, this guy upholds his own, feelings and beliefs and stuff like that. But unlike Sammy, unlike others that chose not to go overseas before, do you think that this has any weight in his decision at all? Or do you think that he compartmentalizes his beliefs?
If Finn didn't go to Saudi Arabia in the past, I would say yes. But since Finn, look, not everybody in that area of the world is, anti-gay or abusive to gays. It's not everybody. I mean, obviously, we've had long discussions about this before. as the very, very, old and that older that, still is, on the wrong side of history, that still believe in, their views about gays and women, is that's older generation has to die off. You got to look at it like we having women perform there. Yes, they still have to be fully clothed. We remember the controversy where they showed on the screen, I don't know if it was Carmella, one of the women, that had revealed like some skin on the stomach area, and it was all an outcry. It's going to take decades for that to change, but there is progress. There is definitely progress. And he's been there before, so I say, yeah, I expect him to go again. Now, on Xavier Woods, you have the internet really, really insisting that this guy win it. Now, that's not a guarantee that he does win it, but I'll say this. For WWE, with the success of the New Day and how important they have been, and hell, WWE ranked them as the best tag team in history. So you're not going to put Kofi here, Big E here, and Xavier here. Xavier's got to have a high-profile win somewhere. It may not be King of the Ring, but to get Xavier Woods into the finals at King of the Ring is a big deal. I think we may end up getting Finn versus Xavier.
I'm right there with you, and I thought I saw a little bit of an adjustment tonight. He seemed a little bit more savage, a little more ruthless, hitting a little harder tonight. And I don't know if that's telling anything. Maybe he was just having a good match, but who knows? Maybe it is Xavier's time to get a little recognition of his own. Sure, maybe he won't be a world champion, but there's nothing wrong with winning a King of the Ring tournament.
Right.
There's nothing embarrassing about winning a KOTR tournament. So if Xavier Woods goes to Saudi Arabia versus Finn Balor, I would not say that would be a bad match at all.
No.
If anything, I think it would be a fun match. It would be very interesting from two guys who are seen as competent wrestlers, who have been seen at the top at multiple different times for different reasons, but don't really have a plethora of matches against each other. So.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's so, that's what I'm going with. And we'll obviously know next week. Now, remember, there's only one SmackDown left before Saudi Arabia. There is another Raw before Saudi Arabia. Right. So most of the SmackDown side is going to be set and done by Friday. As you saw tonight, we can have some SmackDown wrestlers show up on Raw like the Usos did tonight, which was very interesting. I mean, because if you think about it, there really was no reason for them to be on Raw tonight.
They did throw out a couple times over the night that apparently, even though people have been drafted, it hasn't been set in stone just yet, which is kind of new to me too, because it's always been after the draft, you were on the other brand.
Right. Well, it's the night after the Saudi show.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is they kind of alluded to that, and I'm not really familiar with WWE doing that in the past either.
No. Because the Saudi show is the day before SmackDown. Right. I will tell you this. It's going to be really interesting to see what that SmackDown looks like, for the simple reason, and this is, people need to understand this too. There's a reason why you have some people not going to be part of this Saudi Arabia tour. It's not just because it's Saudi Arabia, but because the next day SmackDown has their event. So, it's not just having people fly from Saudi Arabia back to SmackDown for the following night, which is a crazy trip as well. You never know. There might be a little bit of delays. I'm not saying there's going to be. So some people who are not going to be in Saudi Arabia will be appearing on SmackDown the following night. So, I mean, you look, who's Roman Reigns? Well, I don't have the card in front of me, but you look at the card itself. I mean, who's Roman Reigns facing again for the championship?
Brock at Crown Jewel.
Brock, right.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be one of the first matches of the night. And remember, we have different people leaving on different planes. So we'll probably see one of the bigger matches right at the beginning of the show. And that may not sound like a big deal for a lot of people, but being able to leave Saudi Arabia 2-3 hours before everyone else, that's a big head start. Head start.
Yeah.
I could see those two having their match early in the show. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So just very quick, wanted to give a shout out to two of our super chatters. Why does that not look right? That's a little strange. What did I do over here? Right. Oh, no. I know what I did. Here we go. Nate. He says breakfast soup is where it's at. And DT, my gifts are set to arrive by Wednesday. Thank you, my friend. I will definitely check out, I'm assuming, the P.O. box. So I will take a visit. Sometimes my P.O. box doesn't load until like later in the afternoon. So it might be Thursday, but hey, in time for the show on Thursday. And by the way, if you all missed Thursday's show, I did crack open that WWE popcorn from 17, 18 years ago. And it was a very interesting experience. So you have to watch the video to see what went down. So, yeah. And Brandon Jones, he just wants to show a little bit of love to Mickie James. Mickie James is hot in all types of ways. And 41 is the new 30. Yeah, 40 is the new 30. They say 50 is the new 40.
I mean, we joked about that, but seriously, saying that Mickie James is too old to be attractive is just some of the most insane stuff that a man can say. Really is. Mickie James is gorgeous.
Look at me. 50 is the new 13.
That's right. Looking good.
LOL. I pretend you said you're 18. Oh,
that's right.
Thank you, Brandon. Much love, my friend. Much love. But yeah, Mickie James, beautiful. I mean, look, man, Asuka is up there in age. Shayna Baszler might, in some people's eyes, might not be the most. They're all attractive. 40 is not too old.
Right.
I could understand some people don't feel, not fond of older women in wrestling. I get it. I can't watch MMA women.
Unattractive solely based on their age is messed up.
Yeah.
I totally understand it. If Mickie James is not a woman that he finds attractive, even though she has very attractive attributes, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Not every woman is attractive to every guy. What is the saying? Different strokes for different folks?
Different folks, yeah.
But to flat out say that a woman is unattractive because she's she's 40 years old is just ludicrous.
Yeah. By the way, this is the roster, what it looks like in 2 weeks. And the funny thing about it is, what did everybody, well, not everybody, that fringe element, we got to keep calling them the fringe element. What did the fringe element focus on? They focused on the fact that they have Keith Lee as Bearcat, because Keith, looks better, or Lee looks better. And they have T-Bar instead of Dijakovic, but they didn't realize that T-Bar was on main event tonight. He beat Drew Gulak. They're still calling him T-Bar. So just because you want him to go back to the Dominic Dijakovic, and I don't think he is going to go back to Dominic Dijakovic because we have Dominic Mysterio on the roster. So until WWE changes his name on TV, you could call him whatever you want. But guess what? If you're and I'm serious when I say this, if you're a fan of Dominic Dijakovic, you are being disrespectful to him by calling him anything but the name that he currently has. It's like an actor that's in a TV show. And if you support that actor, that's what the actor is called, you refusing to call the actor by his name simply because you don't like it, that's disrespect to that actor, honestly. Dijakovic is playing a character by the name of T-Bar. We may not like it. We may think it's going nowhere, but that's the name he was given. So why do you think even people in wrestling, Hall of Famers, say when they see their fellow Hall of Famers and wrestlers, they don't call them by their real name? If they have a wrestling name, most of the times they'll call them by their wrestling name. You know,
okay,
so
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out here before you solidify this point. I thought that they pretty much address you by the gimmick name that suits you, the gimmick name that you're known as.
Right.
You know what I mean? It depends on how long you've been around. It depends on how well your government name is known. But when people address Dijakovic, I don't necessarily think that they're trying to be insulting. I think that they're just addressing him by their favorite gimmick that he was. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm talking about the people tonight that saw this picture and then laser beamed into T-Bar's picture and then wrote Dominic with an asterisk. You think I'm kidding? People think I'm kidding.
No, you're right. I'm sure there's people that are just being dicks. I mean, surprise, surprise. But I don't think that you can necessarily classify everyone like that because, like I said...
No, I'm just talking about that fringe element that complains. Not everybody complains.
Right, okay. Well, I'm just explaining the other half of people that do decide to call him Donovan Dijakovic, not as a disrespectful thing, but if anything, more respectful of the character that he was.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So...
Yeah. By the way, John...
people call Finn Balor Prince.
Right.
So... I mean, I don't know if they're doing that because it's like, hey, look, I know who he was before.
Oh, when you put an asterisk, before Dominic on social media, you're trying to say WWE, you made an error. Here's the correction. That's the wise ass snide, like, oh, WWE, let me fix it for you. You know, that's about anyway. John Morrison won on main event tonight as well. He beat Angel Garza. So that was your main event results tonight. By the way, Benjamin, I agree with you. I think Bearcat Keith Lee sounds better than Keith Bearcat Lee. But, you know, I go back to the 80s. And I remember Jimmy Snuka, who was my favorite wrestler at the time before Terry Funk took that over. And they would announce him as Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And then sometimes they would go, Jimmy, Superfly, Snuka. So they would go back and forth. So do not be surprised. You'll hear some people on WWE call him Bearcat Keith Lee, and some will call him Keith Bearcat Lee. And some people will just call him Bearcat. You know, this is legit, no BS. When I was in the Navy back in '88 in boot camp for about 7 months, my nickname was Polar Bear. And the reason why they called me Polar Bear is because I went into the Navy at 300 pounds and I was white as a ghost. And a lot of people in my camp were black. And there was a guy that I was friends there. I called him Cornbread, you know, and people knew me by Polar Bear. Some of them didn't even know my first name. They would be like, yo, Polar Bear, got a smoke? So, you know, sometimes you just throw a nickname to someone.
Did they call you Polar Bear Tony?
No, they just call me Polar Bear. They would just call me Polar Bear. I look like a big
polar bear,
white polar bear. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Don Tony wasn't born until what, 2006, I think?
No, I meant Tony as short for Anthony. Anthony.
Yeah, no. Some people called me Tony back in the day. Even though my entire life, I always went by Anthony. Even now. When I talk to people outside in the real world, my relatives, everybody calls me Anthony. Some people will address me as Tony.
Everybody has a short name. If your real name is Christopher, not everybody's going to call you Christopher. They're going to call you Chris.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just what it is. Anthony or Tony is short for Anthony. Obviously, we both have that name, so, you know.
Yeah, sure. So, let's talk about the other matches tonight. So we already went through the tournament. Cedric and Shelton over Mansour and Mustafa Ali. Look, I know there's a lot of people tonight complaining that WWE just broke up another tag team. I'm not saying that Ali and Mansour are going to get back together. at this immediate time.
I didn't think it was a long-term solution anyways.
No, but
I mean, this tag team literally was born from the dissolution of another tag team.
Right. But
You know?
I think this is designed for what you and I have been saying for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, again, think of my Don
Right.
Finucci reference that I've said for years now. Saudi Arabia wants to see their homegrown on the show. It's just like back in the day when WWE would come to New York. We might see the Brooklyn Brawler, where you wouldn't see him mostly anywhere else. We might see Tommy Dreamer. We might see a few wrestlers that don't normally get on the main show at that time. You go to a different area, California, you might have someone there. You go to another. So them going to Saudi Arabia, you best damn believe Mansoor is going to be somewhere on that card. Something tells me since there is another Raw, they could wait a whole week, but I think you could put it as a lock. Mansoor versus Ali or Mansoor versus somebody is happening on that tour. And let me tell you something. If Mansoor takes on Ali in Saudi Arabia, I will bet everyone that match goes at least 8 to 10 minutes. That will be one of the longest matches in their careers.
Yeah.
Oh, you see? Thank you, dude. WWE just made it official. Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali at Crown Jewel. Mission, I said that this is the 4th week now that we've been saying that. And people are like, no, it doesn't make sense. This is it. No. You got to think of it. See, when we do predictions, you all, me, we try to predict who we want, who's going to win. But a lot of times, deep down inside in our hearts and our brains, we are looking at it in our logical point of view, or we're looking at it how we want the outcome to be. You got to look at it in WWE's eyes. You got to look at it in the fact that they're going to Saudi Arabia. When you try to put your personal logic and your personal emotions aside, then you start saying, okay, I could understand why this person, I could understand why this, and I could understand why this. But that match, they're going to give them 15 minutes if they want. So Mansour and Ali lose, and afterwards, Ali is finished with Mansour, attacks him in the back, calls him a loser.
Yes.
Mansour thinks that they can straighten things out. Who knows? Maybe Mansour beats Ali in Saudi Arabia and then extends his hand, and maybe you get the handshake. And they might be back as a tag team. Maybe.
I'm fine with it. I think Mansoor needs a chance to walk on his own 2 feet for a little bit anyways. Mustafa Ali has been jumping around for a while, and while there may be some people that like Ali, I think Ali at this point needs to dial it back a little bit, kind of go into the shadows a little bit, maybe do some main event matches. But I think Mansoor should at least be given an opportunity to kind of break out on his own. Doesn't it feel like Mansoor has had training wheels for the longest time?
Ali's going to take those training wheels off.
I hope so, because it really does feel like, everybody else is kind of thrown to the wolves. Keith Lee was thrown to the wolves. Cross was thrown to the wolves. Technically, Omos was thrown to the wolves. Like, there's a lot of people that WWE just throws them right into the deep end. But Mansoor has been just waiting in the kiddie pool for the last year. Easy. And it's kind of like, why does this guy feel like he's so protected?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's like, can we give him a personality? Can we allow the crowd or the audience to either accept him or reject him?
No, the crowd accepts him.
I don't know.
I think
so.
Mansoor's earned it. I think he's earned the stripes. He's earned the stripes. Yeah. He's gotten really good. Omos, since you brought up Omos.
Yes.
I didn't like anything that happened tonight with Omos, AJ Styles, Riddle, and Orton. Doing that skits, I didn't like it at all, because the whole thing with Riddle cracking all these jokes, and he's got a sign, a signal that'll get Randy to come out. Randy doesn't come out. Omos beats the shit out of Riddle again, if people paid attention over the last couple of months. And then they keep beating them down. And only when AJ Styles decides he's going to hit the Styles Clash, Randy's music hits. And Riddle, again, looks like an abused dog. The dog gets abused. And the master could neglect the dog. And then when the master finally says, all right, you've had enough, and wiggles the biscuit, the dog is happy.
I didn't like it at all. Riddle is an idiot.
Oh, yeah, he's like an abused dog.
At all. Randy Orton told him not to do that, so he went ahead and did it. Because in his mind, and I made the comparison to Dr. Cox and John Dorian from Scrubs, but John Dorian, a.k.a. Matt Riddle, lives in his little fantasy world inside of his head. And in this fantasy world, he thought that he would go out there and beat the crap out of Omos with the help of Randy Orton. Well, he didn't help him. And Randy Orton even told him, I'm not coming out there to save your ass. I'm not going to help you. And Matt Riddle's like, oh, you're not going to help me. Wink, wink. And it's like, dude, that storyline made perfect sense. Matt Riddle overestimated his friendship with Randy Orton. He went out there against an opponent that he shouldn't have been taking on one-on-one, and he got his shit cleaned. And that's the way it should have been. Everything that happened between those four guys happened beautifully. If you're an idiot and you're a 5'5" dude going up against a 7'2" dude, and you think just because your friend is 6'5", he's going to run to your aid, and he tells you flat out, I'm not coming out there to save your ass on this one. And you're like, oh, my friend's going to come out there because he's my friend. And he doesn't, and you get your shit kicked in. Whose fault is it?
I know.
I don't blame Randy Orton.
Then why did Randy come out? When Randy comes out.
When it became too much. When it was just Omos versus Matt Riddle, that's the way it should have happened. When AJ Styles took liberties after Omos beat the crap out of Riddle, that's when Randy Orton came out there, because now it was abusive.
Yeah.
Now it was you didn't sow your own roots, or you didn't reap what you sowed. Yeah. At that point, now AJ Styles was jumping in there to make it worse. No, that was perfectly done. Absolutely perfectly done.
All right. So I just think Riddle's big smile once Randy came out, like, oh, all is forgiven. And, oh, my God, my master came out, and I'm wagging my tail even though I just got neglected. You know, like you said, he's being an idiot. I think that's where we agree for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Austin Theory over Jeff Hardy. I said this earlier. Jeff Hardy in the last 12 weeks has had 11 singles matches. He's 6-5 over the last 11 matches. I don't have the specifics in front of me, but if I remember correctly, his wins are over Sheamus, Karrion Kross, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander. His losses were that one loss to Karrion Kross that stirred up the net like crazy. He also lost to Damian Priest, and he lost to Austin Theory. Jeff Hardy, at this stage of the game, it's 50-50 booking. His losses in the last 3 months have been only to Damian Priest, Karrion Kross, and Austin Theory. Those are the stars of tomorrow or the immediate future. Jeff Hardy is helping elevate those stars. Yes, it's only one match, but when people are saying, oh, Jeff Hardy is buried, he's being misused, he's this and that.
You mean he's doing what he's paid
He's doing his job. He's doing what people did to him 20 years ago.
Right. He's literally making other people look good. He's trying to help the stars of the future. But no, he's getting buried. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Hardy's the one that wants to lose every match possible to make these kids look good.
Well, not every match, but he wants the losses to mean something.
With the kiddos, maybe not Sheamus. You know what I mean? But like losing to Damian Priest, making Damian Priest look good. What's bad about that?
You see Drew McIntyre look good? Drew McIntyre tonight when he had the back and forth with Big E, and then the Usos came out. This goes back to what you and I said about Drew McIntyre versus Bill Goldberg. We said it the entire time. Everyone, don't worry. He's going to be Goldberg. They're not going to ever make the same mistake they did with The Fiend that time. But what Goldberg's job is right now is for resume purposes only. Drew McIntyre was a perfect example of that tonight. When Drew McIntyre was cutting his promo on Big E, Drew started running off names that he beat. I beat Brock Lesnar. I beat Goldberg. I beat the... Those are big names to be able to rattle off on a list. Just like Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's obviously been around longer, but Bobby Lashley, when he beats Goldberg, which may not happen because it's a, falls count anywhere and it's a street fight and blah, 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 and, who knows. But the point is, Lashley's already beaten Goldberg. So when Lashley cuts a promo in the future on someone, when he runs down his list of names, he could include Goldberg on that list as well. That's why Goldberg is still being used. Physically, he still looks like he did in 98 minus, or maybe 2005, just some extra gray. And Saudi Arabia, he is a larger-than-life, I don't want to say superhero, but he's a larger-than-life character.
He is. He's a big name. I mean, look, even if we're not the biggest fans of Goldberg in 2021, to deny the fact that the guy has legendary status for a lot of wrestling fans would be just goofy. Even if you don't like Goldberg, he's a recognizable name and has been a recognizable name for decades. So where's the hurt in that? Where's the hurt in WWE using that in order to bring more people at Crown Jewel?
Just think about this. On Thursday, when I cracked this bad boy open, this Goldberg gum is going to be 25 years old. It's almost 25. It came out in 1997. 25 years old, 25 years in wrestling, not every year, and still look like that. He could still move around halfway decent. Saudi Arabia is enamored by that.
Right.
So, anyway, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Becky, and Charlotte. By the way, we're already at 52 minutes, so we're going to start speeding this up because it's 12 o'clock right now. We're going to be done by 12:30. We'll take a couple of calls, and, we said it last week, we appreciate the 5-10 minute conversations with everyone out there, but a lot of people are DMing me because they don't want to offend anyone. A little angry the last week saying that, they kept hitting redial, and people are staying on for 10 minutes. So when we bring people on, you ask your question and we're going to disconnect the call. Not to be rude or anything like that, but, if you want to call in, be quick about it, and have something pertinent, not just to say, hey, I watched Raw tonight. Not a bad show. Anyway, not trying to be cruel, but,
No, let's get to it. Let's talk about
so Bish brought out a point tonight that I agree with 100%. And, we talk about the differences with AEW and WWE all the time. And I think what we saw in a women's match tonight, although the ending was not spectacular, we wanted more of a concrete finish. That's the difference more than anything between WWE and AEW. WWE, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, but the concrete difference between the two is Mish is about to explain why he enjoyed what went down tonight in the women's tag. Yeah. No, and I'm in agreement with Mish. Right. In the AEW side, it's more about having a period at the end of the statement. They want it to be a sentence or a statement. There's a period at the end of every week when it comes to women's wrestling. With WWE, there's a comma. There's more of a comma than anything else. And Mish, tell everyone why you enjoyed what went down tonight with Charlotte, Becky versus Bianca and Sasha. And for people that don't know, the match first started. Nobody could get along and agree who starts the match. So there's a big outside brawl. You have Sonya and Adam Pearce come out. We're not going to have it end this way, even though it never started. Get in that ring. So they have the match, and they all still can't get along, and the match ends up as a no contest. Mish, why did you think that was great? Because I agree with you.
Well, going through it, I think the way that everything was done was perfect. WWE is very used to having polished matches. I think that's one thing that WWE has down pat, for their benefit or for their detriment. The idea that matches in WWE, especially with the women, tend to be more polished as far as the way that they're presented. You have 4 different women who all hate each other for different reasons. And WWE's, or I should say, Adam and Sonya's decision was to put them all in a tag team match. A tag team match with 4 people that hate each other's guts. And it was great because whoever made the decision decided that they're not going to have a tag team match. So the match starts off, they're all brawling, they're all fucking with each other. Sasha and Bianca are pushing each other in the corner, and they're escalating as to who's going to start the match first. And then Becky's on her high horse, and Charlotte gets in there. And you're going back and forth, and it degrades. You got 2 referees, 3 referees. What was it? Who came out? One of the Duts or something like that. So they started bringing out personnel. And I was like, it was great. And these girls are fighting, and the bell hasn't even rang yet. The announcers are like, what the hell's going on? This is crazy. And then they have Sonya and Adam come out, and they're like, well, we're gonna restart this match. Restart what? It never started to begin with. I think that was the low point of that, because they did go back to having a match. But even during that match, they brought out more antics. They showed how much they disliked each other. It was almost as if they were having a tag team match, DT, out of spite. Out of spite. I've never seen a tag team match happen out of pure spite since the Lethal Lottery in WCW. It was great. It was fun to watch. But I didn't like the fact that they restarted the match, because they should have just let them kick the shit out of each other. Just, it goes to a no contest. Everybody's a piece of shit. Get out of here. You guys can't keep it to yourselves. You guys can't have a match. You're all insane. We'll punish you next week. Something like that. But instead, they had to force the match, and it was fine. And I understand why people might not like the finish of that, but I was okay with it. It was complete gaga across the board. It wasn't meant to be taken as a serious competition, because everybody has a dog in this fight. Both belts are, obviously the SmackDown title is looming on the line, but both belts are in contention right now. All 4 of these girls want to retain or gain these belts, so it made more sense that they were all psychopaths out there. It was fun to watch, because as far as the women go, there are a lot of weak links on the women's division in WWE lately, and even some of the main eventers have been showing less than their best. So it was nice and refreshing to see a polished WWE match be anything but. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
I mean, it just adds to the tension to the match in Saudi Arabia.
Was I wrong about the Lethal Lottery in WCW? What was that called in WCW, where they did the lotto with Mean Gene, where he's getting blown by, what was it, Ric Flair's valet? Oh, come on, Fifi.
No, it was the Lethal Lottery. It's when they picked the names random out of the. Yeah. They had Cactus Jack team up with Van Hammer, I think, and then he DDT'd him later on. It's Lethal Lottery.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
I thought I was going crazy there for a
second. No.
All right.
As far as the just lost my train of thought with the women tonight.
Sorry, man.
No. As far as the women, by the way, because I see people about the draft contest. Ed Vary, congrats, my friend. Ed Vary won the draft predictions contest from a week ago. Last week we had the draft get finalized. He scored 9 out of 12. Very impressive. There was a few of you that came very, very close second, and you remember those strong picks was to break ties. Ed Vary, got 9 out of 12 without even needing tiebreakers. So congrats, Ed. Wow. You reach out to me and I'll hook you up with your prize. But getting back to the women, this adds tension to the 3 women that are facing in Saudi Arabia. This also leaves Charlotte in the mix, because Charlotte is the heavyweight champion. So Charlotte is going to be feuding with someone coming out of this. Oh, yeah. And the more that I think about Saudi Arabia, the more and more I'm starting to think that Bianca is going to win this. I think Bianca could very well end up pinning Sasha.
Yeah.
So she wins the title without pinning Becky. And then Becky goes to Raw. Bianca will be on Raw. Bianca and Becky could continue that feud a little bit. And then Sasha could end up feuding with Charlotte over this. The only problem is that Charlotte is the Raw Women's Champion and Bianca would be the SmackDown Women's Champion. So we would have what we didn't want to see happen. Diallo. Diallo. Welcome. Thank you for subscribing. But to see Bianca win without having to pin Becky, that protects Becky a little bit. And then Sasha could go right to SmackDown, and then Charlotte could make fun of her for losing at Saudi Arabia, and then you could see that pick up from there. But we're going to have Bianca and Charlotte probably switch titles. Because remember, this Friday is the last SmackDown before Crown Jewel. Next Monday is the last Raw before Crown Jewel. Raw next Monday is the last Raw that Charlotte is on as a regular brand member. Charlotte could drop the title next week on Raw. It's highly unlikely, though. It's highly unlikely. Coming out of this, 3 of the 4 women in the match are going to be in Saudi Arabia. Nobody came out of that match where it would make sense for Charlotte to face them next week.
Right.
So, you will see.
Let me ask you something real quick while we're still on the women here. What do you think of Bianca Belair's big spot that she did on Friday, putting both the girls both the champs through the table? Do you think that helped? Yeah. Do you think it helped her at all, or do you think it was just non-existent?
When I saw her she was going to put them both through the table, and then Sasha ended up on the table. When that went off the air, I said to myself, now I'm starting to think Bianca's winning this. Especially with everything that came out of SummerSlam. Remember, people need to remember what we said SummerSlam night. Sasha Banks had to take some time off. Becky Lynch was the emergency replacement for Sasha Banks. So now with the draft here and done, Becky could go to Raw like she was supposed to go a couple of months ago. But obviously things had to change because Sasha had to take some time off. So now you get Bianca, which honestly, people remember going into SummerSlam, a lot of people were not feeling Bianca as champion. They thought that her run was pretty lackluster, that the feud that she had with Bayley and Carmella and others did not help her much at all. So as weird as it sounds, if Bianca wins that title at Saudi Arabia, she's in a much, 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 much better position now than she did going into SummerSlam. She looks like she belongs now. Not because of skin color, but you see those 4 on the screen tonight? She looks like she belongs. She's getting to that level. So
she's getting there, but she still feels like she's the odd woman out. But I understand what you're saying. That's what I was asking. Do you think that helped her? Because I'm not sure how I feel about Bianca Belair. I still think that her ego, her gimmick that's defined by ego, rubs me more as a heelish kind of a gimmick as opposed to being an uber babyface that she's been putting on. But at the same time, Becky's supposed to be this big hated heel now. But every time I see Becky out there cutting amazing promos like she did tonight, you can't help but cheer. Calling out that Sasha Banks goes home every few months when she loses. I thought that was fucking hilarious. So, yeah.
Joe Punches. He agrees with you. Why is it bad for people who hate each other, who are tagged together, would want to work with each other? Sure. I mean, I remember.
Joe gets it. Joe knows what's up. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's simple. Just imagine you were in an alley with 3 other people you didn't like. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess you can do the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but at the same point, maybe you just want to see everybody get their ass kicked,
Oh, let me just quickly. Larry, I see what you're saying. It was Battle Bowl, the Lethal Lottery, but there was also the other one too. The original one was Battle Ball, but it was the Lethal Lottery. Yeah, so just to clarify from before. But No, you're right. And Joe, there's no way that they're merging those two women's championships. There's no way.
You still don't think that Becky 2 belts holds any water?
Not like it used to. There's no reason for it to have 2 belts now. You got to focus on the brands, and you got to focus on elevating people. And, Bianca obviously is going to be in a much better place now than she was prior to, but that's not enough. We got to figure out who is next. Is it Aaliyah? Is it Xia Li? Is it Liv Morgan? I mean, they got to start. Someone's got to be the next one to start getting there. And having Becky possessing 2 belts, especially now with a child, I can't see her constantly.
I would say Shayna. Shayna's going to be that gal.
I hope
Shayna
so.
right now looks like she's the next one.
I hope so.
Rhea and Nikki Ash are too busy cutting promos on Jomo doing like what is it called? Yogi chants or something like that, So anyways.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, my friend. Cannoli for Roger. Much love, my friend. Thank you for that. Much love as always. By the way, for our Patreon family, tomorrow night we do the finals of the Jim Johnston favorite theme music tournament. I haven't checked tonight, but I know the voting was extremely close on one of the 2 brackets. I think it came down to the Brood, Real American, Triple H The Game, and D-Generation X. Out of all the Jim Johnston themes, and I know what some people are saying, no, Real American was not Jim Johnston. Yes, the lyrics was. It was performed by someone else, but we're talking about Jim Johnston written
with it. Like, we didn't get nitpicky with the polls. It wasn't just only Jim Johnston. It was anything that Jim Johnston was a part of.
Yeah, he was a part of it. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, Rams fan, absolutely. A lot of these themes are played out. I don't want to hear Real American no more. But growing up as a wrestling fan, some songs have just stuck with us and a big part of history. I mean, that's why and the funny thing is, I don't want to play favoritism here, but out of those 4 themes, you know who I would choose? The Brood. Just that music, it's still, I could crank it in my house and I wouldn't even be embarrassed. I would even contemplate driving down the street, blasting with my speakers in the Lincoln. And I guarantee you somebody, if I blasted out, sure, people would laugh. Who's this, older guy blasting music at his age? But I think some people would be like, yeah, fucking Brood, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick Derringer performed Real American, but it was written by Jim Johnston with Rick Derringer. So,
yes.
But, so anyway, main event tonight, Drew McIntyre and Big E versus the Usos. Ended up with the Usos winning on a count out. Look,
more chaos, more fun, more chaos.
Yeah.
The Usos were there, DT, to fuck with both of these guys.
Yeah.
They did their job. Obviously, they talked to Big Us earlier before the match. They set out there, and as heels, they disrupted Drew and Big E. There was a lot of communication errors, miscommunication. There was a couple of shots taken, and then at the end of the match, it was all in. They were both beating the hell out of each other. Drew got busted open.
Yeah, he got a knot.
A little bit.
Big knot on his head.
Big knot too. I mean, I thought it was funny too because he even squeezed the knot and just rubbed it down his chest. I'm like, geez, dude, doesn't that hurt a little bit? But it was a good match. And once again, it's another example of taking a polished WWE formulaic match and disrupting that makes that a lot of fun to watch.
See, Big E with the jokes, bringing up nipples and stuff like that. Big E is just a fun guy, happy guy, great in the ring, just the role model. And those are not bad assets to have to be a champion. I don't have any problem with Big E the way he is. The Usos tonight on Saturday, someone had asked me, like, who do I think Roman Reigns is going to feud with other than Drew McIntyre going into the end of the year? And tonight, a seed was planted. A reminder was planted. Survivor Series, it's champions versus champions. That's what Survivor Series is all about. Big E is going to be taking on Roman Reigns at Survivor Series with no titles on the line. So tonight, the Usos were there as the seed planting that Big E in the near future is going to have to take on Roman Reigns. So you keep that tie together. Drew McIntyre versus Big E is going to be at Saudi. We already know what the outcome is. So they have to tonight make it seem like they can't get along. You know, the only problem I have with tonight is when they said one night only. We will coexist one night only. They coexisted last week against the Dirty Dogs.
Right.
So this wasn't just one night only. But like you said, it did what it was supposed to do. These two guys, they respect each other. They like each other. But at the end of the day, it's about the WWE Championship and, you know, one-upping each other. And that's what ended up happening tonight. Drew was going to go for the Claymore, and Big E tags himself in. I got a kick out of the California crowd chanting for the Usos for a majority of this match.
Yeah.
They were into the Usos big time. But, you know, Drew and Big E at the end, they started beating each other outside the ring. The referee is counting and counting and counting. And you look at the clock, it's 10:58. And you're like, okay, it's ending in a just a count out. And the Usos win by count out. That's how we go off the air. Drew McIntyre leaves Big E laying to give you that suspension of disbelief that, wow, maybe Drew does have a shot at Saudi. No, but that's what WWE
No, but that's what you want.
Right.
You want them to make the fans and us, the viewers, question what we believe is going to be the WWE formula.
Right.
We're looking at this match as like, there's no way Drew's going to win this. But now, because of tonight, I guarantee you there's going to be some people going, well, maybe Drew does have a chance. Maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Hey, Mike in Brooklyn.
And that's the whole point. Subvert expectations and you win the audience. If you can constantly do that and you can change what is to be known for WWE, dude, you're going to get a lot more people back. You're going to get people on board. Keep doing this. And it doesn't have to be Swerve City. It's not like we have to do the Vince Russo bit. But you know what? Happy little accidents, changes to the formula. These are all great things for wrestling fans. We want to be entertained. We want to be fooled. We don't want to be treated like fools, but we would like to be fooled, you know?
Yeah. I want to just address this to Mike in Brooklyn, everybody else that keeps writing the same thing. With all due respect, the WWE keeps splitting up tag teams. Need I remind most of you out there that Natty and Tamina were not a tag team 1 year ago. Mustafa Ali and Mansoor were not a tag team 1 year ago. T-Bar and Mace were part of Retribution, but they were not a singular tag team, just the two. Who else got split up last week? I'm trying to remember who else got split. My point is that a majority of the tag teams that were split up were not tag team a year ago. So the point is, they could form new tag teams, and they will form new tag teams over the next year.
Do you wonder why people want bad tag teams to stay together? I don't understand that.
I agree with you.
If a tag team doesn't work, why do you fight to keep them together? Like, isn't the whole point to like bury it under the carpet and try something different? I don't know, man. I don't understand some people's ideas. You know?
Yeah. Shotzi and Tegan Knox. They weren't a tag team a year ago. I mean, I don't think people stop and say, you know, most of these tag teams weren't even a tag team a year ago. So obviously we're going to have new tag teams formed during this year. Maybe WWE formed some of these tag teams, got what they could out of them, and maybe in some cases they realized, you know, I think we could do better. But obviously they like telling a story, and sometimes it takes months for the story to develop. So right now, for all we know, they can have somebody in mind to team with Liv Morgan. They can have somebody in mind to team with someone else.
Keep trying. Isn't that what we want? Keep trying until you find that magic pairing.
Absolutely.
Until you find the next AJ and Omos. Till you find the next Randy Orton and Matt Riddle.
Sure.
Don't you want WWE to keep trying until they find those tag teams that are like, wow, these these guys are good together.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know. Some fans are weird. I don't know.
All right. Very quickly, you know, look, about Rampage's rating, which is, it's funny, it's not getting a lot of news for the obvious reasons, and we'll segue into, and, you know, as it seems to be getting late, we got a little dilemma, everyone. We could still take questions in the chat room for the rest of the show, because we still have about 22 minutes left. But as far as taking calls tonight, we may have to hold off until, actually, you know what? I got an idea. I just thought about it. Wednesday, there is no Dynamite. Wednesday, there is no NXT. NXT's on Tuesday. A lot of you out there still want me to do a Wednesday show. So maybe what we'll do for Wednesday is we'll have half the show. We'll spend it on NXT. We'll talk about anything that breaks between now and then about AEW. And then we'll take calls for the other half of the show. And maybe we'll do that. So, you know, this way we can just focus on these topics, and we'll take some questions in the chat as we go along. So, Rampage's rating. 9 weeks ago, when it debuted, I said that the rating would settle in between 550 and 750,000 viewers. And, you know, everybody and their mother's like, no, it's this, it's this, it's this. Some people predicted 1.8 million, that it was going to surpass SmackDown, this and that. And the ratings keep going down. Now, I've brought up over the last couple of weeks that it's the newness factor that's wearing off. It's the new car scent is wearing off. You factor also in that it's a pre-recorded show. It is a Friday night between 10 p.m. and midnight. And it's not, wrestling is hardly ever must-see TV anymore. There's so many ways to watch replays of Rampage over the next 7 days. It's repeated constantly on the Turner networks. It's available online, streaming media. So why would people at 10 o'clock on a Friday night insist they must watch it firsthand? They already know the spoilers. They already know what went down. When CM Punk made his debut, that was must-see TV. That was a 7-year return after a hiatus. It was a big deal. One of the best wrestlers in the world, and going to the competitor. So, of course, that rating would blow up. But, you know, CM Punk had his best match yet, being on the roster with AEW this past Friday. And this past Friday, they did 502,000 viewers. That's what CM Punk having his best match yet in AEW. Now, I made this humorous tweet earlier to prove a point. On August 20th, when Punk debuted, everybody, the fringe element was writing out soon AEW is going to own Friday night. And I know Mish is going to tell everybody something about a magazine from earlier this weekend. A week later, the rating dropped down to 720, which is what it got the week before CM Punk made his debut. And still, people were like, WWE, we coming for you, in my Booker T voice. The week after, it drops a little bit, 696, and everybody on the fringe element is like, oh, steady as she goes. Then September 10th, it drops to 670. Oh, no, the weather was nice. A lot of people went out for the weekend. The week later, it drops to 642. The excuses were, oh, it was taped. The week after that, it drops to 640. Oh, everybody was drained from Wednesday's Grand Slam event. October 1st, it drops to 622. Oh, well, WWE's ratings went down also. And this week, 19% drop. Everybody's blaming it on baseball. Yeah, I do blame it on baseball this week. But the Dodgers versus the Giants was more important to CM Punk and AEW fans.
Didn't they once blame it on the Biden speech?
Oh, sure. Sure, when it was on Wednesdays.
That a problem on now Dynamite,
people are saying it's
low ratings.
Terrible time slot.
So many people, all the wrestling fans quit watching wrestling when Biden was speaking in the presidential speech. It's just like,
you see this photo, that screenshot? This is the full photo. This is from a place, All Elite Wrestling News. Just remember that the only reason that WWE are catering to the fans by giving them better pay-per-views, better shows, and content in general is all thanks to AEW. This is a place.
I agree with that. That is actually true. That is totally true. But that doesn't mean that AEW is the superior product in any way. Great. You lit a fire under the giant's foot. Good for you. Now all of us fans can enjoy everything more.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? I don't
this-
disagree, because you know what? When TNA was around, DT, they didn't do that. WWE didn't flinch when Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan went on Monday night. They didn't even flinch, DT.
Well, they did do over 2 million viewers for Hogan.
No, I understand that. But WWE, they just didn't make any moves. No. They didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? They just let TNA punch themselves out like a petulant child. You know? And don't get me wrong, there's been fringe element shows over the years, from Wrestling Society X and ROH and MLW and NJPW and all these other shows, Lucha Underground, that have existed. And to be fair to AEW, WWE has never flinched for any of them. And I don't think that WWE is flinching now, but I think that all of the social media presence, all of the little news sites and podcasts,
they're the ones hurting.
Literally blow kisses to Tony Khan every week, is finally gotten the attention of WWE, saying, okay, let's do something to capture fans. Let's make our shows a little more exciting. Let's do some things that fans haven't been expecting for a while. And they've been doing that. We've had a great run with Bobby Lashley, and now we have a good champion within Big E. We've got new matches. We got a draft. Even though the draft was a bit subpar, there's changes on the horizon. There's actual hope in the air. There's good tag team matches between AJ and Omos and Orton and Riddle. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of new people coming up into the company, a lot of new direction. So, yeah, if AEW wants to take credit for waking up WWE, and WWE and Nick Khan and everybody else involved doing new things in order to bring WWE into a new era, good. You go ahead and take that peanut.
Well,
go ahead and take it.
This is my point. This is why we talked about this to death before. And look, I don't need to point out to everybody here that I am a huge supporter of AEW, but I don't have an agenda. And this weekend showed and exposed so many disingenuous people out there. And not only that, it really did show Tony Khan's obsession with beating WWE. And Tony Khan, I think, really made an unforced error, and I'll show everybody why. We're not going to revisit everything I said over the weekend. We talked about that to death. But I want to just re-show everyone the 2 tweets and then add something that happened this weekend. Okay? Once we found out that SmackDown on Friday would be 2.5 hours, not 2 hours, even though they're in their regular time slot, but they're doing a little overtime. Tony Khan writes online, I see that you're doing a half hour head-to-head with us. Now, when you stop right there, I like I said on Saturday, no, this is the last SmackDown before Crown Jewel, and they're doing a $50 million event. So they're giving half-hour overtime for SmackDown. That's what they're doing. So he writes, I can't wait to finally beat your show head-to-head. Tony Khan did think that, and I think that is great for him to think that and want to do that. But when you write that publicly, and you already know that your ratings have not been all that spectacular on Friday, I don't know if he thought that this fringe element online is the majority of AEW fans. And I think Tony Khan may have thought that all our fans will join in unison to make a statement that they're all going to tune into Rampage next week after this dick move by WWE. So why would you even say that publicly? So I don't blame him for being upset, but this is where he made the huge calculated error. This guy Snowden, which people have said to me over the weekend that this guy is a major shill for AEW. This guy Snowden tried to somehow compare this with Eric Bischoff challenging Vince to a fight. This guy, I don't even know if he was sperm in 97, 90. I did a whole history lesson from the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. And not only that, when Bischoff challenged Vince to a match at Slamboree, that was for pay-per-view buy rates, and that was in response to, dramatic pause, DX showing up on Nitro only 2 weeks earlier. So they were all playing one-ups on each other. This guy actually thinks that Eric Bischoff challenged Vince to a fist fight. Punch me. No, he was trying to sell pay-per-view buys. And so Tony Khan actually says people were absolutely furious in 1998 over Eric Bischoff. I've already proved beyond a shadow of a doubt how incorrect that is. And Tony Khan finishes it by saying, and this is where I think Tony really, really, really has to stop paying attention to that fringe element for this reason. His last sentence says, he just thinks that AEW can put a better wrestling show on, and he wants people to know it. Tony, you've been on TV for 2+ years. If fans think you're a better wrestling product, they will watch it. You saying that you want people to know it, that's what WWE does every week. That's what TNA does every week. That's what Ring of Honor does, MLW. Every promotion thinks that they're the best in the world. But when you have this loud fringe element that are calling people constantly retarded for watching WWE, you're fucking stupid for watching that garbage. What's wrong with you? Are you a moron? This and that. And when you see hundreds and hundreds of likes to comments like that, and you see thousands of people tuning into shows that's all they do, and AEW just sits back and says nothing about it. Those elements that are making all the noise online, and then Tony Khan reveals, I can't wait to finally beat. How do you publicly say to WWE, I can't wait to finally beat your ass? This guy, it's all about competition to Tony Khan. So what happens, everybody? This is what happens. WWE doesn't make the announcement Friday night. Friday night comes this tweet. Friday night comes with all this backlash from all the fringe element online. Friday night is saying, oh, WWE's just doing that because of AEW's success. Rampage, 500,000 viewers. So what happens on Saturday? During the afternoon, during all the sports games on the Fox networks, they advertise that when WWE goes to FS1 Friday night, that the last half hour is going to be commercial free. That was announced over the weekend. So again, you got this element online that is blowing everything up. Mish, what was that article you saw? What was that article you saw?
It was an article earlier by Variety magazine. It was written by Gavin Bridge. And I'm not going to read off the entire article. You guys can find it for yourself. But it's titled, Vince McMahon is finally getting what he hasn't seen in 20 years. Competition. And it's a bunch of graphs showing different ratings of Raw and NXT.
Which is fine.
Rampage and Dynamite. Which is disingenuous because they're not showing the SmackDown ratings until they get into like the actual age brackets and stuff like that. But it's this weird article that's trying to make people believe that AEW and WWE are on the same path for competition. Never mind the fact that WWE can be seen in 100 and something countries across the world, that they have a lot more of a reach than AEW does. You're talking about one market, the US market, to be fair, and you're talking about a fringe development of fans. You're not even talking about a majority of fans. So the idea that this article is presenting that Vince McMahon is now terrified of AEW and Tony, it's bullshit. It's a bullshit article. It's just more of that narrative being pushed. Now, let me ask you, because there was something I wanted to ask you while you were in the middle of your tirade against Tony Khan, and I really am curious. Do you think that guys like Cody Rhodes, guys like Jericho, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. Do you think that they respect Tony Khan the way they did 2 years ago?
Yes. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Because Tony Khan, Tony Khan's
when
biggest
he says
mistake.
Stupid stuff like this,
Well,
how is it that people that are considered professionals that have put their own money and lifeblood into this project, besides Tony Khan's money, but put their own lifeblood and their names into this project known as AEW,
well,
how do they consider this the same level of success when this guy has openly said that he's booking matches and storylines that he dreamed of as a kid?
Well, let me answer it like this, okay? Tony Khan is better, is made wrestling better being in it. Tony Khan is extremely dedicated for AEW. Tony Khan, when I said 3 years ago it was going to be the first millennial promotion, I think people are now starting to understand what I meant by that. Tony Khan truly tries to listen to all the fans out there. Tony Khan truly cares and is an avid wrestling fan. I think the problem is this, and I really believe this. When Tony Khan brings up 1998, this is not something I said Saturday. When Tony Khan brings up 1998 and he says that fans were furious online at Eric Bischoff challenging Vince to a fight. No, fans were furious when Medusa threw the title in the garbage. Fans were furious when they were giving spoilers. Eric Bischoff challenging Vince to a match, and this is something I did say Saturday, we were all fantasizing it. That's the forbidden fight. The hell with the forbidden door. So the thing is that what Tony Khan's biggest mistake is that Tony Khan did in 1998 as a 15-year-old, Tony Khan did in 98 what a lot of people are doing now. In 98, they bought all into this, that it was legit, that Eric Bischoff really wanted to physically, violently beat up an older man in Vince McMahon. He was responding, trying to make money with pay-per-view buys because DX tried to invade Nitro 2 weeks earlier. All right. There was no Livid. And there's Wayback Machine. People could see message boards of Prodigy and this. There was this tiny little fringe element in the late 90s that bought into all this stuff. Like I said on Saturday, when Goldberg showed up on Jay Leno and said, Austin, I'll put $100,000 of my money on the table. Any place, any time. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Were they going to have a shoot fight? They were both in entertainment.
How do you respect that?
This is where I'm getting to it.
Branding is on there, and Omega and all these people. How do you respect somebody that's a goof like that?
Let me get that, because Tony Khan in 1998.
Dixie Carter was a complete mark too, a money mark too. We all called her that. There was a lot of people that disrespected Dixie, but Dixie didn't blow her own horn until people behind the scenes at TNA told Dixie to become an on-screen character. Before that, she was working behind the scenes, and everybody said every horrible thing about Dixie Carter when she was working with Jeff Jarrett, because she was just paying people and they didn't like who she was paying. And it's like, you look at Tony Khan, and there's a big difference here. Dixie Carter never wanted to be a part of the business. She wanted a piece of the action. She wanted the money that came with supposedly getting on the Jeff Jarrett train and the Hulk Hogan train and everything else like that. Tony Khan is not doing that. Tony Khan is just playing with his sandcastle.
Here's the problem. With Tony Khan has what TNA did not have in the 2002, 3, 4, 5 time period. They didn't have this crazy fringe element and this crazy online voice, because people got to remember something. Okay, and this is what I think a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to Dixie Carter. In 2002, 2003, 4, 5, when NWA TNA was getting momentum, WWE had a fantasy roster. They had a lot of people from WCW. You had Austin, Rock, Triple H, DX. Then you ended up getting Hogan, Hall, Nash, Flair, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam. It just went on and on and on and on and on. So we were all loving the shit out of WWE at the time. Sure, there was a lot of politics and Vince put them all over the storylines and it, got a little crazy. And then they started moving away from Attitude. At that time, wrestling was still viewed by millions and millions and millions more fans. When Dixie Carter tried to go to Monday nights, she thought that because they were getting 1.5 million or whatever it was, 1 million viewers, that they thought, okay, that we believe that we can put on a better product than we have. And they tried to go to Monday nights and they got killed from it. With Tony Khan's not trying to go to Monday nights. Tony Khan is not trying to go to overlap SmackDown. Like I brought it up on Saturday. If Tony Khan really wanted to finally beat WWE and go head to head, ask Turner, ask the network to put you on a special on a Monday night at 8:00. Do a special 8:00 on a Friday night. They could do it whenever they want to. See, the thing is that Tony Khan really cares about his product. Tony Khan, here's his biggest problem. And this is why I think Jericho and everybody do respect him. Because Kenny Omega, and I've brought this up before, if you pay close attention to the signings AEW makes, a lot of these wrestlers seem to fall into a similar pattern, and know that it's not mostly all white wrestlers. But if you look at Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and some of the other signings, these are a lot of guys that, fit that New Japan, to fit that Ring of Honor, to fit this certain style that it's more about spot fest and
WWE.
No, what?
Oh, they don't fit New Japan. I mean, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks weren't signees. Those were the guys that.
Listen. This is the mindset that this is the style. When Tony Khan created it, he surrounded himself with a certain group of wrestlers that all seem to have a similar background, a similar mindset, a similar, thought process. And the thing is that when you have all of these minds behind the scenes and they all think similar the way as Tony Khan, then everybody feels like they're on the same page with each other. And I truly believe that a majority of hardcore AEW fans truly believe that AEW is better than WWE, because I always compared it to the paycheck. You get your paycheck on a Friday. For WWE fans, getting a paycheck on Friday, you put a little in the bank, you want to see it grow, you want to see it develop, and maybe in a month or two, you have some aside, and you could have this big thing happen, which, was a storyline. With AEW, you get paid on a Friday. An AEW event is similar to, I blow my money before Saturday night. AEW is more of a, week to week, have a great event, week to week. We got to put 70. I brought it up 2 weeks ago, thanks to, I think, Darren. 80 people showed up on Dynamite. There were 80 people on Dynamite 2 weeks ago. So they're more about the now, here, of course, for the next pay-per-view, but they're not thinking about 2-3 years down the line. Tony Khan, when Billy Corgan came up with a 40-year plan, Tony Khan is publicly telling $1 billion company, I can't wait to beat you head to head. Why is there that much animosity? Why is there that much on your mind? So Tony Khan, his problem is you got that loud fringe element online that say the same thing. That you have this people backstage that with Tony Khan
he's worried about beating Vince McMahon.
He's beating WWE, not Vince McMahon, WWE.
Yeah, well, he brings up Vince too, so I don't know how.
Yeah, well,
Look, he's more interested in trying to beat WWE than he is focused on his own product and building up his own.
That's his big mistake.
That's
too many people. Listen,
picks up all these guys from WWE because he wants that transfer fan base.
The most
all those outraged voices online that are mad when Malachi Black leaves WWE and goes to AEW. Well, I'm not going to watch WWE anymore. I'm going to watch AEW. He should be worried about his own product and his own show and his own fans, as opposed to, once again, going out there and stepping in the big boy shoes when he can barely walk.
Right. But here's the thing, and this is probably the best point I could make from over the weekend. The problem with Tony Khan is this, and I didn't even say this over the weekend, but I said it today. There's an old saying that you get more bees with honey. And the one point that I did make over the weekend is nobody out there tries to scientifically figure out how many fans that watch WWE programming also watch Dynamite on Wednesday. Did everybody think that when Dynamite gets 1.1 million viewers, that they're just AEW fans and not WWE fans? Did anybody ever stop and take notice that everybody online that gushes over AEW on Wednesday are also watching Raw and bashing Raw? So when you realize, what is it, 40, 50, 60% of Dynamite viewers are also WWE viewers? So if you take away that viewership from WWE, what is your base? 600,000, 700,000, 800,000? Look at how drastically their payroll went up in 1 year. Yeah, their ratings went up as well, but they're also now unopposed on Tuesday nights. You look at Rampage. Let's not forget this very important point that nobody seems to bring up anymore. Rampage was created to debut and air on Friday nights at 10 p.m. as a lead-in from SmackDown. The thinking was, we have our AEW fans that are going to watch us on a Friday night, and hopefully we get SmackDown viewers that have wrestling on the brain from Friday night, and when SmackDown is over, they'll tune over to TNT and they'll give our brand a shot as well. So that is why it's on Friday nights from 10 p.m. to midnight. They thought getting the lead in from SmackDown, why do you think Impact had sometimes back in the day, or Ring of Honor? Promotions try to be a lead-in to other things. Look at MLW. MLW was supposed to be the lead-in from Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring had like 130,000 viewers. MLW only did 40. They thought a lot more people would stay on the channel. And here's the thing about Dark Side of the Ring and MLW. You don't even have to change the channel. All you got to do is just sit back or fall asleep, and you're on the same channel. And I also brought up over the weekend, how many of you out there, or Mish, you included, how many of you out there have come across someone, anybody, in the last 10 years online, people that you communicate with, how many of you had someone that you know online over the last 10 years go online and say, hey, everybody, I got my Nielsen box today. Now I'm going to put it, I don't know anybody has a Nielsen box. So when you turn around and you look at the ratings on a Friday night, how many of those 600,000 viewers also watch SmackDown? A third?
I was going to tell you, it's funny that you bring that up. Joey Numbers had a Nielsen box.
Then you give it up?
He himself had a Nielsen box, yeah.
Yeah. But that's my point.
It was funny, but yeah.
It's
a rarity. You're right.
Right. But you get more bees with honey. Tony Khan, what he's got to realize is that there is a big percentage of fans who watch his product that also watch WWE. Again, tune into Monday nights, tune into Wednesday nights. Weird how the loudest people on Twitter are watching both shows. You look at Friday night. Weird. The loudest people talking about SmackDown are also talking about Dynamite. So when you realize that you have a decent sized percentage, a large percentage of fans watching your product that are also WWE fans, and that loud fringe element online is calling those fans stupid, dumb, moronic, fools. How could you watch that garbage? WWE sucks. You're this, you're that, you're this. Well, guess what? It kind of turns that person off. And some people will be like, this is just not fun to like even like I can't even go public and say I like WWE also. When you have people out there getting tweet fucked simply by saying, hey, everybody, there's nothing wrong with liking both shows.
Right.
That shouldn't even be a fucking tweet. It's like Cody tonight. They're doing Heritage Night for an AEW event. And Cody tells everybody, oh, no hate flags or no political flags. Isn't that the norm anyway? You know, and it's just, like I said, the bottom line is that Tony Khan truly believes in his heart his product is better than WWE. You go on Twitter, the loudest noise out there also says AEW's product is better than WWE. You look at Variety, Sports Illustrated, so the Forbes and some of these other places, you got these people who write on there that have no college background, and they'll say, oh, AEW is the biggest threat to WWE in history. Or they'll say this, say that, say this. And yes, they may feel that way, but Tony Khan soaks it in. And all the people that work for AEW soak it in. It's a pride factor. You know, it's not often that you have rabid, hardcore fans supporting a promotion. ECW is probably the last one that had this kind of hardcore, rabid fan base. The difference was, back in the 90s, I don't recall any of us saying like, oh, that fucking, what are you, a WWE fan? What are you, fucking retarded? Oh, you like Nitro? What the fuck is wrong with you? Where the old boys play? This is fucking, no. ECW felt like the redheaded stepchild that we talked about it, you know, in the corner. Like we were very, very happy. It felt like a cult. And we talked to each other like a cult. We didn't turn around and bash. So when Tony Khan watches all this noise online, he loves the support and he feeds into it. What he's got to understand, though, is that a large portion of people tuning into his product also like WWE. And when they feel that they are being criticized and bashed and made fun of simply because they like both, those fans are going to start having less support. And when they don't see AEW defending those fans that do like both, you know, because you go online and you see somebody writes, hey, man, you know, I'm one of those that likes Raw and likes AEW. And he gets 5 likes, and then someone will be like, what are you, fucking stupid? Look at this garbage shit. Look at the fucking shit that they give you. And it gets 800 likes, and nobody on AEW, like, tries to defend it or step in. It just feels like, okay, you're a radical supporter. But with Tony Khan, and I'll say this in closing because we got to wrap it up, Tony Khan can't force the issue to everyone that AEW is good. When you look at what he said to this Snowden guy, he thinks AEW can put on a better wrestling show, and he wants people to know it. Everybody has social media. Everybody can see it with their eyes. Everybody that follows wrestling knows it's on the TV. Don't force to tell us how great you are. Stop with all of these maniacs online insisting to tell us 1 trillion times over why AEW is massive and unbelievable and awesome and epic, and I'm shaking all these people every week. This match is so good. I'm literally shaking right now. That's weirdness. That's weirdness. When Shawn Michaels retired, I had chills. When Ric Flair retired, I had chills. The Owen Hart tribute show, I cried. All right. When I watched a retirement match, I get chills. Watching a match with loads of botches, and you know that it's got its flaws, and that was so epic and amazing. I'm literally shaking right now, you know, and that's the noise. And Tony Khan has got to be really freaking careful, because those promotion, those websites, those bloggers, that loud noise, when it takes over and hijacks the conversation, that's when WWE says, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we're going to do this. And we're going to do that. They ain't stupid. You put Rampage at 10 o'clock at night on Friday night thinking you were going to get the SmackDown viewers to change the channel and come over to us. You want to piggyback off our show. Tony Khan has every right to do that. But when WWE wants to improve their own stuff, and go overtime and this and that. And Tony Khan gets so angry. Look at the time that this tweet came out. This tweet came out not even an hour after Rampage went off the air. He knows that tens of thousands of people online are going to read that, and they're going to feed into it, and they're going to jump all over WWE for that. So WWE's like, oh yeah, no problem. Now we're going to do commercial free. And let's see what happens. FS1, I'd be surprised if WWE gets over 1,000,001, 1,000,002 because of the network switch. But what happens when Rampage doesn't beat them Friday? You're going to get the whack jobs on the right. They're going to rub it in AEW's face that, look, yeah, you're going to beat nothing. Look at it. It's on both sides. Tony Khan has to address this crazy fringe element out there, this over the top. And I'm talking about shows and blogs and writers and websites. I'm talking about those people. They have to address it some way. Do an interview with someone and start addressing this stuff, because this is not how they're the ones. And I said this about a year ago. Those are the ones that are going to kill AEW, because
oh yeah, absolutely.
When AEW does not put on pay-per-view quality names in matches as main events every week, and you dare give us, lackluster names, oh, how come this person's not on the show? Look, people are already complaining about the usage of CM Punk. They're already complaining about the usage of him. These people are getting used to Hogan Goldberg Nitro, Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
And it can't be like that. And if Tony Khan is thinking aloud by writing that tweet, and every week all he's got on his brain is beating WWE, and you have that loud noise backing that shit up also. Remember when Rampage did, when CM Punk came in, 1.8, 2 million viewers. Now it's down to 1,050,000. Rampage is down 60%. So, it's turning off a lot of fans. Or those fans feel AEW is not my first priority.
Right.
So, I don't know. They got to be really, really careful, man. They got to, and look, Mish, what you said also, here's another thing. Tony Khan doesn't have a history in wrestling. No. So Tony Khan's got to kind of depend on Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Jericho. That. If they all get up and leave, AEW's done.
But that's what I'm saying is, don't you think that those guys feel like because Tony Khan doesn't have that history in wrestling, that he might not be guiding them in the best way?
No, because they have the similar mindset as him. So he got together with people that had a very similar mindset as him. Tony Khan, in message boards in 1998 at 15 years old, thinking that Eric Bischoff challenging Vince to a fight was real, and the internet was irate and just insanely angry at Bischoff. Yeah, you did have that very, very tiny little radical group of people back then. And you have similar voices and similar thoughts behind the scenes. A lot of those guys think the same way as Tony Khan. That's why they didn't work behind the scenes for pretty much other promotions. Tony Khan always wanted to do this, and he finally got himself surrounded by people who wanted it as much as him, but didn't have the money or the resources. So, those guys end up leaving. It's going to be really interesting who he could replace him with. I don't know if he can.
Right. I don't think he can either. So
no.
Very
well,
good.
Anyway, I don't know if you have any closing comments. We're actually going to finish a few minutes later, but still under 2 hours, thank God. Shout out to the family. Much love. And I think we're going to bring back next week, the opportunity to send in a question, and we'll answer it live on these shows. But
sure.
Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. And of course, on Thursdays, listen to Wrestling Soup before you check out the Don Tony show. So,
absolutely, man. Yeah. Wrestling Soup Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
That's correct. See you, everybody.
All right, Mish. I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Be well. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool that I can let Mish finish tonight before midnight. So, yeah, I'm a little tired, everybody. Busy weekend. Today was Columbus Day, or Indigent, whatever they have renamed it to. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Mish, again, with the scary picture. But tomorrow night, NXT, going to be a fun show. We got Halloween Havoc in 2 weeks? I think Halloween Havoc is in 2 weeks. So here's my question for all of you live before I jet out of here. Do you want me to do Wednesday show, since we do not have a Dynamite episode this Wednesday? Do you want me to still start at 10 o'clock, or do you want me to start at 8 o'clock? So I'm going to let our live audience that is chatting right now on YouTube, majority wins, so you be the judge. Do you want me to start Wednesday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern like I always do, or do you want me to start at 8, since there is no wrestling that night? And all right, already everybody coming in. So I'd love for everybody live right now to speak out. Let me know. I could take the night off, Sam, but definitely want to talk a little bit about NXT. Definitely warrants some discussion. And who knows, we might have more shit transpire between now and Wednesday. Okay, majority of you are well, now we're getting a couple of 10s in there. So, yeah, all right, so that's what we'll do then. Wednesday, we'll do it at 8 o'clock. Obviously, it'll probably be a more intimate, conversation, because not everybody's going to be in the wrestling frame of mind Wednesday, being that there's no wrestling show on that night. So even if we have a small audience, we'll chat. I promise you we'll take calls for half the show, and, we'll make up for tonight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So before I jet out of here, just want to shout out a couple of people with their super chats. Joe Punches. The Rock has a #1 rap song on YouTube. Might be a Tuesday question, but what else can this guy accomplish? Yeah, I heard he made a cameo on some rap song. The Rock was involved in some rap songs. Wasn't he in Wyclef Jean back in the day? The Rock is not burning out anytime soon. And, the Rock's schedule isn't as crazy as people make it out to be. Yeah, when he's doing movies, I definitely expect it to be crazy. But, The Rock has plenty of time to chill as well. But good for him, man. Good for him. Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to Near. I know Mish earlier had that Excel sheet on the screen. He was probably just hanging out doing a little vaping. So he doesn't vape on camera, because apparently that's something that YouTube is not fond of. So that's why he does that. Shout out to Roger Rubio once again. Thank you very much for the cannoli and the coffee. And Joe Punches, once again, thank you very much, my friend. Yes, the way the women were used tonight, they shouldn't have got along. And honestly, I don't think any of those women should have had a winner. Why should anybody have any momentum going into Saudi Arabia? You do a no contest, sure, on TV it doesn't come off all that well, but in the end, nobody won. Bianca, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, nobody won. So nobody could take credit for having a little advantage coming out of Raw this week. And who knows what'll happen Friday on SmackDown. I mean, obviously we're getting Becky Lynch versus Sasha, but that's going to end in a clusterfuck. We got to see if Charlotte makes an appearance. And Nate, I will definitely look out for that again, my friend. And Brandon, as we talked earlier, Mickey James, beautiful. Beautiful. By the way, few of you asked if I watched Knockouts Knockdown. No, I'm going to watch most of it tomorrow. I'll probably watch the rest of it on Wednesday, and I'll probably comment Wednesday night about it. I heard it was a decent show. I think a lot of the outcome was very, very predictable, though. I don't think anybody expected much as far as title changes go. Impact, give them credit for putting out all these pay-per-views. In their mindset, if they could make $1,000, it's better than making nothing. And I agree with that mindset. So, yeah, I saw the tribute to Daphne, which was really nice. I just wish on the banners, hyping up Knockouts Knockdown, they should have kind of featured her more on the profile. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, everyone, much love as always. And thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. And if you're around tomorrow and you're part of our Patreon family, we'll be live at 10:05 p.m. right after NXT goes off the air. We will talk about NXT. We will do the finals in the Jim Johnston theme music tournament. And I think tomorrow is off the cuff. So we haven't decided what the next tournament is going to be yet. So we may actually end up figuring that out tomorrow with everybody who tunes in live. So if you want to be part of the conversation, join us live. And if not, Harris, I talked about the Iconics on Saturday. Go check that out. I think there's a timestamp up there as well. But we could talk about a little bit more on Wednesday. Hey, Wednesday, 8 o'clock instead of 10. Now my only question is, what do we do about Saturday? Because Saturday we usually start at 8. That's when Dynamite starts. Do we do a live watch along? Do we start at 10? Do we make the show on Sunday? So that's something you should start thinking about. In fact, if you even want to post it in the comment section later, by all means. What do you want to do about Saturday? Because normally we start at 8 o'clock and Dynamite will be live during that time. So the three choices are: do the show as we normally do, but do as a watch along. Start the show 2 hours later, which I don't know if I really want to do. Or we do a Sunday show the day after. Because you know everybody and their mother is going to be doing a show Saturday night. So I'll leave that all up to you. So that's something for you to think. In fact, you know, I'll make it easier. I will post a thread in the community section right here on YouTube. This way everybody could go in the community section and I will put a poll up and you can vote how we're going to handle Saturday night. And I'll also post in the community section for everybody who is not with us on the show tonight. Let them know Wednesday we'll be doing it at 8 o'clock, so you could tune it a little bit earlier. Yeah, and Sunday at 8 is not a big deal for me. My brother's birthday is Thursday, and I think we're spending time with him on Friday. So my parents are leaving for Florida Sunday morning, which means I'll be bird sitting here Saturday night. So I'm going to be here no matter what. So I'll definitely post a few threads in the community section so we could all get on the same page. But I'm out of here, everyone. Be well. Much love. And I'll catch you all again, either Patreon tomorrow at 10 or Wednesday at 8. So night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.